Forgive me if this does not sound like a funny story. It's not funny. There's some sadness. But it offered me the opportunity for some profound reflection upon space. 2 months ago, my mother was admitted to a hospital, Southmead Hospital in England. I spent 3 weeks there caring for her with my brothers and my sisters. At the end of that time, my mother died. This was a difficult time, obviously, but during that time, I became aware of how the well-programmed, well-designed space affected my experience, my mother's experience, and the experience of the staff of the hospital. I'm going to show you some of the attributes of that building, and I'm going to draw connections to other public spaces, and we'll show you how those spaces can be surprisingly comforting. And I'm going to move over here because nobody else did. So I call this talk Comfort in Public Space. Like many people in this room, I spend a lot of time thinking about how to make positive experiences in complex public spaces. In my work, it's a museum. The museum shares challenges and attributes with other similarly large and complex spaces, such as a hotel, restaurant, hospital, museum, airport, bus station, coffee shop. These spaces can be surprising, confusing, calm, pleasant, noisy, crowded, comfortable, dark, welcoming, smelly, and loud. Here is how I might diagram those relationships. I know it's complicated, but I know what I mean. But let's look at some of these relationships more closely. And from that dense diagram, we'll look at confusion. And these three in particular, the hospital, the museum, the airport. Can you hear me? Because I don't like this. Thank you. These three in particular can be very confusing. They are big. They are complex. They're spaces that are often cluttered by the addition of functions and programs and signs that were not part of the original program. And they're often unfamiliar to the user. So, hospitals, in my experience, are often confusing, noisy, uncomfortable, dark, and smelly. But during my experience, I found that Southmead Hospital was surprising. It was calm, pleasant, comfortable, and welcoming. So this is what I want to talk about. Let's take a look at what happened, why it wasn't like that. So we'll take a look at the building. It's quite new. It opened a year and a half ago. So how does it work? How does the building work? The patient rooms here on the east side, they all have natural light and natural ventilation. So the patients can control the light and the ventilation in their rooms. There's a central concourse, beautiful natural light, natural ventilation from the sky. The medical block, the business, is along the west side. And there's a corridor that runs the length. And this is where patients can be moved and given privacy. It helps the medical staff to walk around. It prevents the spread of infection and rapid movement between the patient bedrooms. Interestingly, they're not called patient bedrooms. I love that. The general entrance is at the north. This was taken during the building. There's bus stations, taxis, bike racks, parking, and the emergency entrance is here with direct connection to the medical block. The patients can very easily move from the bedrooms to the concourse in order to use a coffee shop, cafes, bank, the administrative offices, and importantly, the staff use this same space for the same reasons, helping to create a sense of shared community. Upon entering, I was struck and reminded of a public street. It felt like a public street, an urban street with the windows of the bedrooms and the medical corridor all facing in. In this entrance, and I apologize, this photograph doesn't show it, but when you first come in, you see a coffee shop, you see a little shop where you can buy things that you might need. And here is, I love this, it's not called the information desk, it's the welcome desk. Although the international symbol is here if you need it. I've lost my place. All of this, the map is further in, and I like that because here, before I reach the map, I can feel that I understand the space. I can visually, physically orient myself. And there are people here to help me first. There are people behind the desk, and also, very hard to see, but in, just like the orange t-shirts here, there are people to help, so you can easily identify them. I can easily see how to navigate through the building along this concourse. Here you see that beautiful skylight. Now, most public buildings, ooh, I am nowhere close. All right. Well, let me tell you, there's obviously much more I could say. I want to show you how beautiful it is at night. And I want to tell you that Here at the Help is a very positive experience for me. There's much more I could say and was planning to say. But I want to leave you, obviously my reason for being there was rather sad. But it was clear to me that the intention of the building, the design, nobody lost. This was designed for the staff, it was designed for the patients, it was designed for the community. This is really my message. It was clearly intended for all of those people, and I felt the effect of that, my experience there, my mother's experience there, my family's experience there was so much better than it would otherwise have been. And I want to leave you with one more hospital experience that for me was a very happy one. 2 weeks ago, my daughter gave birth to my first granddaughter.